This agreement negotiated between members of the Fall Mountain School Board, administrative team, and a diverse group from staff around the district. With our respective attorneys, was reached through 3 rounds of negotiations. The proposed article is a 1-year contract and includes an overall average 2% wage increase. Actual increases vary from 1% for those at the top of the scale to 3.5% for those getting a step plus the cost of living increase. There's a reduction of professional development funds by $20,000 from $70,000 to $50,000. Previously, the whole amount of money wasn't taken, so that was a place to find some funds to make this come together. There's a reduction in the amount of annual wages funded for sabbatical leave from 100% of a teacher's annual wage to 80% for a teacher who's granted sabbatical. And a change in how a new hire is placed on the wage scale. There's a couple of groups of teachers I would like to point out and thank and congratulate for what they do around our district. This school board and administration for a number of years have put a focus on the early years of education. Investments have been made in full-day kindergarten, pre-K, half-day pre-K, as well as in our early learning center. These are places where a lifetime of learning can be changed in a few short years. I'd like to recognize the teachers in those programs for their efforts in teaching the youngest, most malleable, and sometimes most vulnerable students under our care. So I wish to recognize and thank Tammy Vidham, Mallory Smith, Lorraine Chafee, Amanda Nielsen, Katie Parsons, Melissa Lind, Erin Willett, Mary Shannon, Hillary Martell, Allegra Pickering, and Kim DiTilio. These teachers change the game for students of each successive grade and really change it for each teacher they will have the privilege of learning under in the future. One more notable group I'd like to thank tonight, those distinguished teachers who have earned the gold level standard of national board certification. We have 6 of them in our district who are nationally board certified, and another who is currently going through the rigorous process. It's a challenging process that causes teachers to analyze their work. The first group that went through it took a year. Not all made it through. It's on to now a 2-year process. These skills that they bring to their colleagues and departments really are contagious and do make a difference in our schools. So for the outstanding accomplishment of National Board certification, I wish to thank Richard Elliott, Lisa Mulharn, Katie Jean Parsons, Melissa Lind, Linda Furland, Tammy Vidham, and in the process, Jen Hart.
Okay, any questions or comments on Article 2, the collective bargaining agreement? Yes.
The numbers in this table.
Please stand up, state your name and town of residence, please.
Nancy Fontaine from Charlestown.
I'm just wondering on this table, is this the total tax increase, or is it per thousand or per 100,000?
I believe it's per thousand. I'm correct. It's per thousand. $1,000 of assessed valuation. Emmy Green?
Be Green, Charlestown. This is just because I don't have a clue. Are the teachers merit-based, or is it a set, or is it a set increase that the teachers' union, that you guys have to go to each year? And by the way, I meant to say, thank each and every one of you for what you have done while you've been serving our community. But that's really my question. I want to know, is it a merit-based increase in salaries, or is this something that the teachers' union, over the past 10 years I've watched, the salaries increase? Are you guys being forced into this, or is there a merit base for teachers?
This, if I'm not correct, correct me if I'm incorrect, but this is a negotiated agreement between the Teachers Association and the school board. I don't believe it includes merit raises. I'm sure, I'll let Jim answer the question.
What was negotiated this year was a 1% increase in the scale. And then those teachers that were on step got a step on the scale. And so raises vary anywhere from 1% for the ones at the top to as much as, I believe, 3.5% for the ones on step. There is no merit recognition in this particular structure at this time.
Has there ever been? I've watched it for 10 years, steadily increasing, and I've been told it's the teachers' union.
This is my first year here, but I can tell you that there's never been a merit in the scale.
I know, so that's my concern. So is it?
Can you speak up, please?
That's my concern. Is this something that the teachers' union, that you're forced into these increases in wages without any merit? I'm trying to get my thoughts across. Is this something that the teachers' union, a continual increase over the past year, is that the teachers' union's fault? Or is it, are we going to be seeing this in the next 10 years? A continual increase because of the teachers' union? I wish you guys could speak to that.
All I can say, and again, I don't want to speak, if somebody can speak better than I can, please step in. But this is a negotiated increase between the school board and its negotiating team and the Teachers Association, the Teachers Union, if you want to call it that, and their negotiating team. So it was collectively bargained. It was a negotiated agreement. Can I just step back and say one word about the motion to restrict reconsideration? Mr. Upton has pointed out to me that I was somewhat in error, and the motion to restrict reconsideration restricts reconsideration until the second session, so there can be no further reconsideration. Correct? Okay. Any other questions on Article 2? Mrs. Fontaine? Ms. Fontaine?
What happens if it gets turned down?
My understanding is that it would revert to the contract that's currently in place.
If the contract doesn't get approved, what ends up happening is the current contract expires and we go into what's called status quo. And under state law, the terms and conditions of employment that currently exist would continue on until we get a new contract, which means essentially the pay would be frozen, and whatever health plan they're currently receiving would continue on until a new contract is negotiated.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? Yes, right in the middle there. Again, please state your name and your town of residence.
Cornelius Ackworth.
Excuse me.
Cornelius from Ackworth. I have a question, if anybody has historical records on what the teachers' raises have been historically over the last 5 to 10 years.
I'm seeing heads shaking up here that no, that data is not available tonight.
That data is available, it's just not, he does not have it with him tonight. We know what the contracts have been, so it's just a matter of compiling that information.
So it is available, it's just not, excuse me, it's just not here right now. If you wanted to contact the school district business office, I'm sure that they could put that information together for you. Anyone else on Article 2? Yes?
Terry Palmer, Charlestown. I'd just like to know, what does an average teacher make now per year? I don't know.
The question was, Ms. Palmer was asking, what does the average teacher make right now, earn right now?
Can I say something about you?
Yes, go ahead, Andy.
I'll just make a few comments while the administrator's looking up that information. What we all know is that quality of the teaching staff here, or anywhere, is the greatest factor that determines student achievement. So I've jotted down a few notes here because, it's always a hot button issue. 82% of the budget's, wages and benefits. And what we're trying to do here is attract and retain the best possible applicants, to teach our children. So just a thing about the educators here. The educators here at Fall Mountain are truly dedicated professionals. They have expert knowledge in the classes that they teach. They provide learning opportunities that support their students' intellectual, social, and personal development. They plan instruction based on knowledge of the subject matter, students, families, communities, and curriculum goals. They understand critical thinking and problem solving and create learning environments that promote these skills in their students. They reflect on their own learning and evaluate the effects of their choices and actions on others. And lastly, they create a community in the classroom that is nurturing, caring, safe, and conducive to learning. And we are constantly asking our teachers to do more with less. I think that this contract is fair and it shows our appreciation of the professional job that they do. I hope that everybody can support this.
On the state of New Hampshire Department of Ed website, there's lots and lots and lots and lots of data. For the school year 2015-2016, which is their latest collection of data on teacher salaries, in the state of New Hampshire, an average teacher salary was $56,616. And in Fall Mountain, our teacher's average salary is $53,738. So we're couple $1,000s below the state average, but we're pretty competitive.
Any other questions or comments on Article 2? Nancy Houghton from Charlestown.
I just would think I understand what I think Emily is saying. Why do we not have something that gives more to the teachers that are doing better? Merit, the merits.
Anybody want to answer that question? Or?
The wage plans in all contracts are, by state law, have to be negotiated. So we have to negotiate with the teachers on any plan by which their wages are going to be determined. We could negotiate a merit system, but generally unions are resistant to merit systems. They like step scales. For instance, the city of Rochester, where I've done a lot of work, we've converted the entire city to merit. But it's not been an easy sell for the unions. Listening to what people are saying here tonight, certainly we're going to be negotiating again in another year, and we can look towards those, considering merit if that's what the board's choice is.
Yes, first in the very far back.
Thank you. My name is Mike Harrington, resident of Charlestown. I have two little girls in Charlestown Primary, and I just want to thank everyone for everything they've done for them. On the notion of merit pay for teachers, the reason why that doesn't necessarily work is because money is finite. That means that you only have so much money to go around. That means that teachers who used to be getting merit pay now, cooperating and trying to help each other grow and become professional, which is actually how you evaluate teachers. It's one of the ways evaluate them, because it's studies and proven that's how teachers become better. Now compete against each other. So you might have one or two really good teachers now, but everyone else suffers. I think Florida has done a lot of merit pay stuff, and they're not really doing well educationally. It's not something that a lot of studies have proven to be good.
Dennis Parsons from Charlestown.
Did I understand the teachers at the lower end of the scale would get a higher percentage raise of 3%, and teachers at the higher end of the scale would get a 1% raise? Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
So you're rewarding the younger teachers that are coming in with a lot of energy, and the older teachers that are at the higher end of the scale with a higher wage, they're getting a 1% raise. So you're trying to keep the younger teachers that have a lot of energy, and are appealing to the younger kids. So I think the board has done a good job in trying to keep the younger teachers. I think you need to support what the board is trying to do instead of giving all the money to the older teachers. Thank you.
Other questions or comments on Article 2? Yes, Gordon Gallen from Hackworth.
Just a point of information, I happen to know that at the inception of this school district, the base salary was $5,000. And about the second year, it was raised $200 from the floor at a school meeting. That's just a point of interest.
Anyone else? Yes, right in the middle. Could you speak up a little bit?
Conan Cook from Acton. In looking at this summary for the budget, there's two line items, retirement teachers and a 403B contribution. Do we actually have two different retirement plans that we contribute to for the teaching staff?
All of the teachers and many of the other staff in this district that meet the criteria to participate in the New Hampshire retirement system participate in that. And because many, many, many years ago, the district became a member, it's a required participation in the New Hampshire retirement system once you hit the threshold to participate. At some time, a number of years back, the teachers also, and many employees also asked to put money into what's called a 403B, which is the governmental version of a 401K that many of you probably have or have used over the years. During negotiations, the teachers have asked, as have other groups, for the board to provide matching funds at some level towards that second retirement, and that's what you're seeing in the 403B, is the matching funds of, and I'd have to go back to the contract because I don't remember the exact verbiage, but so many cents for every dollar that the teacher contributes, capped at a certain amount. And so yes, there are two retirement options. One is mandatory if you reach the threshold, the other is optional.
Yes, Terry Spilsbury from Charlestown.
I'll try to speak loudly. Terry Spilsbury. This comment goes to this warrant, but also the prior two. And just listening to all of the questions that you've been asked so far, I hear a very strong common theme. The common theme is that when citizens come together in an effort to participate in a decision-making process, the first thing they're trying to do in exercising their own judgment is to get perspective. So the questions I was hearing over and over again were, show us the trend line. So I know you can't answer it in these terms tonight, so it's not a question. But how about next year, in the slideshow you do for us at the outset, you show us about 10 or 12 key decision-making metrics. The overall budget, the staff count, the head count of teachers, the average salary, the wage, the benefits. 10 or 12 things that you would all agree common people like us need to know in order to see where things have come and where they're going. So I'm going to ask you to do that. And specifically, I'd like to see a running 10 years of history and 3 years ahead. Please consider it.
Anyone else on Article 2? Seeing none, I'm going to close consideration of Article 2 and we'll move on to Article 3. Shall the Fall Mountain Regional School District vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Fall Mountain Regional School Board and the Fall Mountain Educational Support Staff Association, which calls for the following increases in wages and benefits at current staffing levels. 2017 to 18, $86,657. 2018 to 19, $131,172. And further, to raise and appropriate the sum of $86,657 for the 2017-18 fiscal year, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increase in wages and benefits required by the new agreement over those that would be paid at current staffing levels in accordance with the most recent collective bargaining agreement. Note, the health and dental care premium increases are included in the main budget proposal. The school board recommends this appropriation by a vote of 7 yes and 0 no. And I await a motion. John Streeter made the motion.
Second.
Mary Henry second, and I'll let somebody speak to it if they'd like to.
So I'm not going to take up a whole bunch of time here on this. I think any specific questions I will defer to our business manager. I do want to say that in negotiating any contracts, I suppose this also speaks to the last one as well. It is a give and take. It is management and union, and we come together with our own priorities and our own perspectives. So So when someone says, are we forced into this? You know, we're not forced into anything except to have a conversation. From my perspective, and I believe the rest of the board, when we came to negotiating these contracts, one of our major concerns was the increasing cost of healthcare. And so we were looking at ways that we could help manage that better. So that was our driving force. On the other side, I suspect wages were an issue, and that's why you're seeing some wage increases. We made a management decision that we could afford some wage increases if we could somehow wrangle healthcare into something that was far more manageable than what we were experiencing before. So that's where we're at. For the teachers, we'll be doing this next year. For the support staff, we'll be 2 years out. And there may be another whole set of questions and concerns that we will decide from a management perspective we want to bring to the table, and we will negotiate again with the unions to our mutual benefit. Thank you.
Questions or comments on Article 3? This is the contract with the support staff. Yes, Mr. Beaudry, Robert Beaudry from Charlestown.
Not so much a question, but when we were talking about average wages, that's 2/3 of the cost of the teacher. So if they made $53,000, you can add another $26,000 in benefits. I know they can't spend the benefits, but those people who do not have these benefits have to dig into their pockets to buy them, or their employer has to provide. So when you look at this, you got a $15 million payroll budget, but you got a almost $7 million benefit package. So wages are 2/3, benefits a third on top. Just for somebody, food for thought.
Other comments on Article 3? No? Yes, in the middle again.
I want to go backward. Can you put some numbers to these, to the health and general care premium increases